мы с вами будем зарабатывать бесплатный бэкпак. С вами будем играть. Попытаемся эту катку занять топ-1. Я буду очень сосредоточен. Будем играть в антибюр или как. Подписывайтесь на наш канал. Трансляция будет долгой. Начнем. Летим на засоленную закусочную. Летим на Хаганы, типа. Я всегда лечу в начало, ну, типа, тут есть можно ХГ тут занять. Ну, блин, вот тут вот ХГ можно занять на этих и снайпить. Ну, сейчас сюда туда будет. Хочу. Чекайте. Махнул. Изи. Так. Угу. Так, идем сюда. Сюда. Давайте выкинем сюда светлячок один сюда. И один тупо вниз, но это такая... Это легендарное место для выкидывания светлячков. Ну, тут типа фрукты. Так. Сейчас автомат. Раз. Бля, эпик. Бля, сука, соси мой хуй. Эпик, блядь. Блядь, сука, эпик. Пиздец. Сука, блядь, эпик. Блядь. Как, бля? За миниганы. Боже мой, чел. Боже мой, спамер опоссумый. Спамер опоссумый просто. Даун. Хватит спамить, блядь. Успокоился, блядь, пиздюк, пизда. Теперь спокойно, блядь, твоя от спама, блядь. Блядь, расслабилась твоя тупорылая пизда, блядь. Не хочешь, блядь, уже спамить? Все, блядь, кондон. Успокоился, блядь. Успокоился, блядь, кондон, я тебя спрашиваю. Блядь, успокоился, дебил. Сука, блядь. В этой катке сейчас будет топ. Блядь, ну тупо как-то он для меня, блядь, просадил так жестко. Ну типа я вообще помню, мне кажется, блядь, я загребу. Это, блядь, что не редачится? Это, блядь, не редачится. Блядь, не ломать это, блядь, ненавижу этих даунов, которые ломают все, что стоит. Дебил, боже мой, вали. Подроп. Блин, тут ХГ нету. Блин, где тут можно ХГ на основателе? Может, и тут ХГ на убежище? Ну что мне ХГ на основателе? Мне нахуй не надо. Можно взять ХГ на... Блять, может тут, может ХГ, блять. Тут можно немного построить, взять ХГ, блин. Значит, сюда. Так. Так. Так, берем. Естественно, нам это не надо. Это параша. Парашу мы не берем. Вниз. Нет. На снимке. Пусть они хватятся, я пока залутаюсь. Блять, миниган. Я уже эту парашу не возьму. Теперь вот нахуй брать вот это вот. Блять. Ты спам. Пань. Ты чел, имба, тут челы. 2 чела. Блять, тут реальный чел. Так. Будем топить. Блять, отвали от меня даун. Боже мой. Что за задание выполнил? Этот даун в кустах сидит, думает, где не пойму. Блять, а где? Где этот даун? Где, блять, этот даун? Где этот даун? Где этот даун? Боже мой. Чел свалил. На 0 хп тут было, ну боже мой. Ну как можно быть таким, ну, блядь, слепым, когда он свалил? Он тут, да, я его нашел, он хилец. Он захилился, все. Блять, как он мне такой урон? Блять, как я сквозь этот... Ой, миникон. Слушай, мне, блядь, хватит мне тут миникон доливать, я его ненавижу. Хватит, мне это давно. Дайте мне его. Так. Надо еще. Посмотрите, открыть миникана такого. Очень так дорого. Ну ладно, давайте. Слипитесь. Не буду я ничего прокачивать. Как он сквозь постройку? Как? Сквозь постройку, ну не вкал.
So, there. Hen is such a good solo player, and he's like solo clutcher as well as me.
If we revived 10, we would have had to revive him again in that game, so...
We have Janice and Hen here, two crazy mechanical players.
I think Janice would be that extra help in leading the team, so I'm gonna choose Janice.
Hen just being an absolute demon.
Revive Janice, because he's one of my friends, and yeah, he's a pretty good IGL.
I think I'm just gonna revive Janice because I'm a nice guy like that.
I'm gonna revive Chapix because he's a really good player, good IGL, and yeah.
I'm gonna revive Chapix because I think he's really good.
I'll go Janice. He's kind of same as N. 3x. You can't really go wrong.
He's a really good player, but although he likes to sing down the mic and he's really loud.
Chapix, like he's such a good player as well.
You can test me in the tournament once. Yeah, you're gonna have to go back to the lobby, mate.
I will send to lobby Hen because he's one of my friends, and I think he doesn't mind about that.
Yeah, Hen is the last one left, so I'm gonna send him to the lobby.
The last one would be lobby. I need to put it to Chapix because I don't know him that well, so.
If playing against him would be the biggest competition, so I would not like to have him in the game.
And I'm sadly gonna send Hen back to the lobby.
Janice to the lobby. Not because I hate him, but like, yeah, it's just a leftover. And I'm gonna send myself back to the lobby because I gotta stay humble for my G's.
Famous words to live by. Stay humble, my G's.
You gotta stay humble, my G's.
Gotta stay humble. Let's take a look at some of the duos we have to be focused on in today's competition. Gentlemen, take it away.
Look, first duo, Pink and an ass. Let's be real. They've been the talking point, or one of the main talking points since, what, qualifier 1, 2, 3, even last season. Let's be real. These guys are a team to look out for today.
Yeah, they really are, and they are game winners. We talked about it yesterday. We talked about it seemingly throughout the whole tournament, but these guys can win games. They haven't quite done it yet in the semi-finals. Day 2, though, Reese. Come on, Cavan. I believe they can win off spawn. I think they only went down once off spawn yesterday.
Only one.
So really, really solid performance from them, and they were surprisingly consistent. They played not to their usual sort of high ground play.
It's because they had a plan. Right?
Okay.
This team has a plan. Obviously, their coach BloodX, very, very smart. He laid out an entire script for how these guys should play games. And I spoke to him today, and I kind of said, you know, what was up? Like, what happened? Because I saw he was disappointed on Twitter yesterday after the fact they didn't qualify. You know what he said? He said they listened to me.
Well, that's helpful.
Well, apparently. You'd think it wouldn't be. But here we go. He said, these guys have now evolved so far past that they are their own players. If you've watched them over the last couple of seasons, you'll see how good these guys have gotten. And a lot of that structure in the plan is the reason for it. But now they've almost outgrown it. They want to make their own plays adapted from that.
That's crazy. I mean, it's something that we haven't seen too much of, coaches getting involved like that, but really great insight from Reese right there. But another team we have to talk about is, of course, Rox and Kovacs landing at Rocky Reels. They are uncontested today, Reese, and they're one of our more low-ground teams, aren't they?
Yeah, they're one of the teams who just kind of stays the low. Again, we talked yesterday about Floki and Clement and how they were that opportunistic team who would take low ground in the end game, be the ones who are taking advantage of the fact that no one on EU really plays it that well. It's Rox and obviously Kovacs at the same time. These guys are so crazy, right? But one of the biggest issues, we're talking about low ground, they're so good, but they're mid-game. If they get through the mid-game, they're fine. But basically, I think only one of the games yesterday, they even got any elims in that mid-game. So that early mid is going to be struggling for them.
Yeah, it is. But Floki and Clement, they're out.
They are.
Well, they're through, not out.
Yeah,
that sounds wrong. They're through to the finals. So I think a little bit of a more open playing field for these guys on the low ground. We see them, of course, landing at Rocky Reels. There's 4 of those cooler boxes there as well. So they're able to pick up those white health, and they're able to sort of tank zone a little bit on the front side, and then keep to that sort of low ground and really just claim it over any other geo, which is always great to see from these guys. They know what's up. But another geo we're going to be talking about is, of course, Pablo and Swag.
Yeah, I mean, these guys, we haven't seen much of this season. We saw them last season in the finals. They ended up placing 24th, so definitely not the finish that I think a lot of people would have expected, because these guys have been coming up a lot. But now, obviously, you can see them landing in the Joneses. They were way up at the top left-hand side of the map, and I'm very much so understand that they said, no, we're not doing this anymore. We don't like this top easy kind of, look, I was trying to figure out the right word for it. I was saying the poverty drop set with all the kind of stuff split out. Didn't like that. So this season they've gone back for a POI, but I don't want to say it's not been working out that much, but the placements haven't really reflected that good change yet.
Yeah, they really haven't. They haven't actually made a set lobby all season, which is not too great from them. But they do, of course, have the Joneses. They have the taxi that is there as well. We talked about it. You know, the vehicles have all been removed, bar a few. And, of course, that taxi could be absolutely vital in the mid-game rotations. We talked about how maybe it's not something that they're too strong on, but that taxi could definitely be of value to them.
Yeah, and, you know, one of the things, you know, I was speaking to their coach, Mikkel, shout out, of course, and he was saying, right, that these guys have not basically played together a bunch of season because they were both on holiday at different times. So they've missed a bunch of the practice. So we know these guys are really, really good last season, and maybe they're just a little bit not practiced. Maybe right now, by the time they've managed to make it through to semifinals, we're going to start to see them on maybe not peak yet, but close to peak performance. And then, hey, maybe come finals if they qualify. Really, really good level.
Yeah, let's hope so. And of course, you'll have to see Reese with the conversation with the coach. It's always good to see how
it makes my job easy.
Exactly,
you
that's
get to
very
sit
true.
and chit chat with him. Oh yes,
exactly.
Let me know how it goes.
If any of them want to chat to me, I'm also available. But that's okay. I think Zeke, we're going to talk about some drop spots, right?
Yeah, thank you guys so much. You guys just absolutely eliminate me. Let's talk about matchups. So we've kind of talked about duos individually. Now, right, we have to put that in the context of a head-to-head matchup. Over in the Greasy Grove, we got Hardfind versus Nano. So what can we kind of see coming out of this head-to-head matchup in the Grove?
I mean, there's also a third team here as well.
That's right.
So don't forget that. But let's just assume there was only 2 to start with, just for the simplicity of go through, right? Greasy Grove, we already said this yesterday, one of the worst drop spots to try and contest because it's so 50-50 in the main building at the minute. I'm giving it to Hardfind, though, because these guys in Qualifier 1, 4-0 against Janice's team, so, like, they're looking really, really strong off spawn, and, you know, Nano and Lou, we saw yesterday what they were going against Floris in Game 1.
They were.
Before they dipped, and how did that go?
Well, they didn't go too well for them. It was not the best, but they only, I actually had it in my stats, so, like, they only went down once off spawn.
Yeah.
But then we realized, didn't we? We realized something.
They moved, right?
They moved,
so if Floris, They went down once off spawn when contested. So you go 1 out of 5, that's not bad, but the contesting team, which was Floris' team, moved. So we can either say 1 of 5 games they went down off spawn, or you can say they lost 100% of their spawn fights, which, you know, is a little bit unfair to say. But regardless, Hardfind and ADN definitely looking stronger off spawn right now than Nano Lou's team, but I'm very, very open to be surprised.
Yeah, Hardfire Native, they've landed here for so long. They know exactly what Greasy Grove is all about. They know it like the back of their hand, and they just know exactly where all the loot is, of course, how to navigate the area. And, of course, we talk about that main building. We see a lot of teams, of course, contesting that last season when, of course, we had the guaranteed chug splashes from there. But now this season, things have switched up a little bit, Reese. You don't necessarily have the chests around there.
Yeah.
So I think if the fight's going to happen quickly, it will happen there, but it won't be clean.
You've also got to remember there's a whiplash in this POI as well.
Yeah.
There's only 3 cars left on the map. They're all kind of burnt down at this moment. And I think it's 100% spawn rate. Don't hold me to that at this moment. Fairly certain it is, but, you know, don't want to commit myself too early to
Don't do
that. So, you know, if any team manages to make it out, they should be okay off spawn in terms of that mid-game section. They have that advantage in the mid-game with the car that's left there.
Yeah, you love to see it. Let's go ahead and shift gears here. We got to talk about our next matchup. We got Astros versus Flodax. So if I'm correct, it's going down at the Bugle.
You are very correct.
Which is, I mean, I'm not going to say I enjoy the Bugle because they absolutely lose off spawn every time, but these guys are pros, and that's why they're competing.
You know, we should not base the POI strength off if you win or lose spawn. Every POI, not great.
I don't think Zeke's the pro here, I'll be honest. Yep, we have. And we saw it yesterday. We saw the fight go down. And for both of these teams, it didn't really work out. Neither of them managed the top 10 yesterday, which for these guys is not too great, especially since both of them are already committing to this drop spot. I saw it on all over social media. They're like, this is our drop. They're trying to command it, and they want it to be theirs. But unfortunately for them, they're not being able to sort of do well with the cards that they're dealt. We saw some great Daily Bugle zones yesterday, and they weren't able to capitalize.
Yeah, and that's the point, right? If you get a zone in Daily Bugle, it actually almost sometimes can be detrimental for these teams, because what you see is obviously the hills that are all the way around it are a real high point for Surge. So a lot of the teams who are kind of surrounding will rotate up, and guess who's the tags? Right?
Yeah.
If you're still inside that POI that's surrounded inside, you're going to get tagged up big time. So basically for Astro and Flodax, some of the best strategies for this is just 50-50, get that fight over as fast as possible, in particular because if you win one game, then you're okay, right? So, you know, I don't want to say consistency doesn't matter, because we know that there's teams going through from that as well, but if you're in a situation like this, you pull a favorable, I'll put in air quotes, zone, might not be so favorable overall.
Tough. We'll see though, right? We have 6 games out ahead of us. Anything can and will happen. This is Fortnite. Got another content piece to throw y'all's way. We had a little moment to ask a few of these pros some questions from you, the fans, so this is Ask a Pro.
Crazy. I don't even remember the feeling. It was too surreal, you know? It was too different.
It's very nice to like win with a team.
My day just consists of just Fortnite, really.
Grinding beats talent, so if you put a lot of time into it and work on your mistakes and everything that you do, I'd say you definitely improve a lot.
I usually get up around 1 or 2 p.m.
I don't really have a daily routine. I'm just waking up, going to school, playing Fortnite. That's all.
I feel very confident, happy to play the game.
What's your best Fortnite competitive memory?
My second FNCS win. We won the last game, and it was like really hype.
It was my first really big prize pool and really big placement. I was really happy after that.
100% the World Cup qualifier. Craziest day of my life. I went from having probably 50 viewers on Twitch to having 33,000.
On day 1 we came first with Anas, and all our hard work paid off. That was a very good moment for me because it was nice.
Was qualifying for reboot round in trio FNCS. We didn't make grands, but we clutched up in the reboot. It was crazy. We got our coach in Nicole, and I was streaming, and the hype was insane.
Me winning FNCS with my trio partners, Kami and Teak. We were having a very great time.
I've been attempting to get into the pro scene for a little while. I've been attempting tournaments, but somehow always miss out on placing. Any tips on how to get those final few points in?
What I try to do is just, in my last game, that I don't overthink.
Water your games, look through it, and see why you're always that close.
You're not going to get better by just playing.
I would say don't push eliminations unless absolutely necessary. Try your best to make it to endgame and squeeze out as much placement as possible.
How do you guys keep a good mentality when things are going bad? And how hard is it to come back after having those things happen?
If you stress about it too much or get mad about it, you're just going to make your tournament worse.
It's just how it is. Zones aren't always going to put on you. You're not always going to get the best guns. That's on you. Can't blame the game for that.
Keep hope that the game will come, because it usually does.
Just make sure you don't tilt.
What does a daily routine look like?
I don't really have like a daily routine. I normally just wake up, drink a coffee and just play.
So I stream for a few hours, play the tournament, play some late night creative or customs or something.
Doing 200 maps, and I'm doing like arena. I'm going to try to implement running, but that's not in it right now.
I like to play 1v1s, I like to play 2v2s, I like to play 3v3s.
Who is the best solo, duo, trio in Europe?
At the moment, Melibuka.
I think the best solo in Europe actually is me.
I think the best solo player is Tayson.
Yeah, maybe Tayson.
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 Definitely Tayson, obviously.
The best duo is Quiz and N.
We'll probably say Queasy and 10.
Queasy and Hen, 100%.
I think we're probably the best on our day.
Aqua and Vino.
For trios, I'd definitely say me, Anas, and Thomas.
It was Tayson, Hen, and Chapix.
Best trio is Queasy, Thomas, and Anas. And I don't think a lot of players compared to them, they have like the perfect combo.
You know, I'm never going to not thank the players for participating in Media Day. I'm telling you, just fantastic content comes out of that. It's great to see. So, we got to talk predictions. Come on, Al. We got 11-2K. We got Shy Wager. And then we'll break all of this down. Oh, you guys are going to give them claps the second day. Okay.
This is a more legit clap this time.
Yeah. Okay.
Don't expect it for day 3.
So tomorrow it's going to be even bigger.
Yeah. Or less.
Or nothing.
Or nothing.
Yeah, nothing.
I'm fine with nothing.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. So, gentlemen.
Get sound effects for it if you want it. Yeah.
There you
Some
go.
explosions.
That would be fantastic. Let's talk predictions. Okay. So, we're going to end on you, Reese, because you're the only one that actually got it right coming out of yesterday.
Say it again.
Right? Okay. That's the only one you get.
Gloss over that.
So, yeah. So, why don't we start with you and I, Mini Miner? We kind of had the same predictions, right? Jerky and I drop, Jerk King and the Big Drop, as some come to know them. What happened yesterday?
Yeah, they struggled, didn't they? I mean, we weren't too happy with their performance. We were expecting them to do so much better, but of course they weren't able to get that victory, and that is exactly what we thought that this team would do. I mean, we thought they would go for the victory, and they didn't. And they tried. They tried their best. They were able to pick up some refreshes, but it wasn't quite enough. And I think the fact that there were so many different high ground teams there, I think it was going to be a little bit tough for them. But now they are contested, and you might think, okay, they're contested. It's going to be a little bit worse for them, but I'll have you know.
I do think that, yes.
You do think that.
Yes,
I know what you think,
that,
Steve. We're on the same wavelength. But their best placement was when they were contested in qualifier 3. They came 6th. So their best placement when they're contested. So before you say,
he's going to drop it. He's going to drop it.
I think the big problem when you look at their games yesterday is that there were many. They could have called on consistency. If you go back and watch their games, they easily could have called on consistency. They just wouldn't give up height, right? And so if they can't have that maturity today to understand in games where, look, we can't have height. We're not going to just completely throw our game to take height. Let's just drop down and try to play this game out. They very easily could have been already in the finals.
Yeah, and also timing for that, right? Imagine if they'd tried to go for height later on. They could have so easily
every
won.
game.
Every game.
Is this aqua? You know, there's the aqua syndrome that you got going on here or something. Like, I don't get it.
I mean, we saw that all day yesterday, right? All these teams. It was always just that one team that was like, wait, just a little longer than we need to wait. Now it's go time. They win, right? So maybe that'll happen today.
I mean, who's learned patience from yesterday? Levin, is Thomas and Trippern, 100%. I feel like it was just a show-off, you know. They wanted to give Reese a bit of confidence that his team through, give us a little bit of a simmering, nice engagement, enticement, entertainment on day number 2.
Look, if we're talking about yesterday's games, I would put it on everything that in game 4, if I drop in Jerky, don't completely throw height, Thomas and Trippin win.
That's true.
You look at the game, everything was set perfectly. Jerky decided, you know what, I'm salty. I'm actually just not going to give up height. Even though my game's already lost, I'm just going to give it up. So hopefully Thomas and Trippin today will come through and be able to secure it.
Okay, and that to be clear, these were our same predictions from yesterday because we believe in these duos.
Not losing faith.
Not losing faith, but Reese, you were right yesterday, so you get to pop it up today.
Indeed.
Talk about Anas and Pink.
I've gone with Anas and Pink, right? I mentioned, right, they were kind of displaying from the plan. They kind of discourse from that. That's not what we're looking for. They know today what they need to do to actually just pick up one win.
Yeah.
Or even that consistency. I think they got it, no problem.
Okay. You like to see it. Well, we'll see at the end of the day. We'll see how it all goes, whether you're right or wrong again. We'll see. But Fortnite fam, it is that time. This is day 2 of the semifinals in EU. If you guys are ready, then so am I. Let's start the competition with our casters, Levin, 2K, and Shy Wager.
Thank you so much. I mean, so far for the pre-show, Zeke, Mini, Reese, they dropped all the bars. It's time to get towards the excitement of 11. Second day of semis, brand new teams. They're ready to go.
Yeah, very similar stakes, right, in terms of being able to keep the hype levels up. A lot of these players are still fighting for the same thing, a chance to play in the FNCS final.
Yep, and right now, there were 5 games yesterday, 6 today so far, so a bit of a marathon for some of these teams. How much does that change, though, really? We'll see, because the first part of that race starts right now.
We are back with some more FNCS semi-finals action. Day 1, session 1 was brilliant. We saw many upsets for sure. If you were someone who made a prediction list, there's a good chance it didn't quite go to plan for you, but hopefully some better fortune going your way in day 2. But a new day means new off-spawn battles for us, Shiowager. And it seems like we are going to get the taste of this first one here at Greasy Grove.
Yeah, Tropex, Victor coming in, ADN and Hardfind as well, 2 new arrivals. I think Victor and Tropex are at the bottom of the Session 2 echelon, rolling through, so they will be looking up at many teams fighting this fight. Taco Man in the Business 211, you're happy to see that.
Of course, man. Gotta love Waco and Lada.
Oh, Tropex not really liking the way things are really going off spawn right now, but we'll be able to just bolster up with his teammate Victor. I think the biggest issue for teams is just that glide in, finding a usable weapon, being in a position to really get that first shot and strike. Lou and Nano, lots of experience being able to play yesterday 11. That must be a huge advantage, at least, on control for the first game.
Yeah, and of course, this is a team that is very accustomed to landing here instantly, right? You're seeing Tropex's duo making sure to secure the whiplash, and be able to sort of get that into their control. That is going to be one of the main attractions of this POI as a whole.
Yeah, so, you know, IO cars disabled, the vehicle's kind of down. When it comes to having whiplash, how's it even possible out of this POI?
Well, of course, it's not actually a fully functional one right off the bat of spawn. If you take a look at in-game, it sort of looks like it's broken down, right? The tires are gone, there's no wheels on it. But if you do happen to find some chonkers off-road tires and slap them on it, it will be a functioning vehicle, and that is sort of how players have been able to work their way around that. And of course, we know the benefits of having a vehicle, the ability to add a bit of consistency to your mid and early games, right? In terms of finding great positions earlier than the rest of the lobby.
Yeah, all about zooming towards the end game as well, minimizing all the randomness that can come from zones, switching left and right. Past that as well, we'll watch some of these teams also when things don't fully work out. It gets a little bit tough overall in terms of pacing and speed. AD and Hardfind, they expected 2 teams to be here. In the past, whenever they're contested 11, I haven't seen it go too well.
Well, the big thing, right, is that AD and Hardfind have had plenty of success this season contesting off spawn.
Yeah.
They've been brilliant at Greasy. They win this fight. They were beating Janice and Vortex out at this fight. There's a whole reason we're not seeing Janice and Vortex here actually at the moment. The big thing for these guys, though, is that you can't split Greasy this way. If there's 3 teams just all trying to get loot from Greasy, that's never going to go well. And so at some point, you know, somebody has to give away. Somebody has to go down. Otherwise, you're in a situation where, you know, you're having a scrappy, you know, sort of loot path where you're just trying to find the outskirts of loot. This is nice, though. A replay of how Anas and Pink were able to find an elimination here over towards Command Cavern.
Yep, it's all about just making sure you utilize all the verticality available at that drop. We were just watching 2 very different POIs and how they move, the utility that they have, and now it's just utilizing the cannons as well. And Greasy's more so horizontal, kind of, you know, Western type of house-to-house fight with sands just barren in the middle between streets. For an Austin Pink over here at the Cavern, they have so much to take account of, not only in front of them, but above and below them as well.
Yeah, they typically land towards that top side, and there's plenty of loot there. Of course, at the very top, you have the ability to sort of get that scan down, and once you scan, you sort of have an idea of where people are below you as well. The verticality being very clear in that regard. This issue for them, so we'll have to follow out throughout the rest of the day and see whether or not somebody does give them some issues toward that top side. Regardless of who it is, though, they'll be happy it's not Malibuka Mustache this time round, as those guys have already qualified, and we know what kind of beast they can be.
Absolutely fierce, and just the biggest surprise, I think, for them as well. Past that, Jerky, I drop kind of similar to Thomas Stripper in terms of the way we rolled things up. It looked like, you know, they had an inkling of just qualifying overall. Yesterday, they're here again, and the story kind of changes in Logjam. I already see a few enemies. Is that a landing that happened? Is it contested? It is different for them on day 2.
Yeah, so Nefreezy and Lucia are contesting today. No fight initially off spawn, which has actually been a trend around the lobby, right? We've seen a lot of these places that have been contested. No big fights off spawn just yet. Maybe some of the ones we haven't seen, there's been that going down. But for iDrop and Juriki, the circumstances today, you could argue, aren't as nice or as kind to them as they were yesterday, and that proposes a new challenge. The big thing, though, is I don't think actually those new sort of factors will play much into how they do. I think more so it's down to them. Yeah. Right? We talked about during the prediction segment, there were plenty games where they very easily could have just decided, look, we can't hold high, let's just go down there, you know, play mid-ground, play low ground, we'll get deeper into the game, get some placement points. They're good enough players to get eliminations in these lobbies. qualify through consistency. Very easily could have done it, Shia.
Yeah, I think it's the same thing. It has to be said for Thomas and Trippern when they're rolling in. You know, they understand who is on height, how they're overall playing. They too can roll that way. But now if everyone tries to go for the consistency value, things might get very hairy. Changes from day 2 or from day 1 to day 2 as well. Fury going down in the feed, and I don't see it happening inside Cavern at least. That's a POI switch that's somewhere else on the map, and they're in trouble as a result. That hasn't worked yet either.
It's interesting, right? Because you talk about what happens when everybody goes for that sort of consistency style. Starts to look like game 2 of yesterday, right? Where Queasy and Hen have high ground. Nobody even is looking up at it. Nobody on second height posing a challenge. And so in that instance, if you are the one team that decided to just commit for height, you know, you're laughing, you're smiling, you're licking your lips at the prospect of playing in the FNCS finals like those guys did. But that's a long way away, right? We still have to get there, and we'll see the trials and tribulations of trying to get it. You see Nako and Dan up on this hill. And what they're looking to do now is try and get some shots off on any players lurking in this general area. For the most part, though, it looks like the players that they could be doing damage to are sitting right above them in Flodex and Rifty.
Yeah, I think for both these teams, the biggest issue is finding space to lead overall inside these semifinals, when the entire wave is about winning a game and getting way towards the upper echelon, but you have a few teams there who are really trying for the VR. Rifty, Flodax, Naku Dan, who are just primed on consistency, kind of lose the edge their playstyle gives them. They end up following way too long, and these spaces they actually have doesn't mean as much as it would in an FNCS final, in a qualifier. Need to maybe take a few more risks and play outside their comfort zone.
I think the big thing is, though, is that in such a high-intensity environment like this one, players will naturally go to what they're most comfortable with. Yeah. And understandably, right? You know, players sort of revert to their instincts, and although these guys maybe aren't known as sort of the upper echelon players, they are well experienced in this realm. It's the reason why they're here. And so we'll see how far that can take them in terms of instincts. Janice and Vortex over here towards the Collider seems to be an easier ride than what we saw yesterday. So.
Absolutely. I mean, you look at things and how they were going yesterday, it was just job after job after job of chaos. We actually, I think, got many inspired by all the action and went and played a few of our own games trying to get perfect landings at the Collider. Semifinals, not just, you know, pub arenas. It gets real.
Speak for yourself, man. I was landing at the Collider.
You were holding your own.
I was dominating. I was, you know, 1v2ing kids over there. If you caught me in arena, be sure to say hi next time. Look, Janice and Vortex will be very interesting. I think now they will definitely be considered one of the more favorite teams to have a chance of qualifying. It feels weird because it feels so far removed from the Janice and Vortex a season ago, who looked like genuinely a team that was about to push into that category of being one of the elite dominant teams in the EU. In fact, many people would argue that they showed that they are that last season, and it hasn't quite been the same beat this one. But obviously, still time left to play in the season.
I think that actually might be really good for them overall. When you have these high expectations on these big names, sometimes you don't live up to them. Sometimes when a qualifier, even one game goes wrong, you're that much more harder on yourself. Maybe for Vortex and Janice, their stocks went down a little bit. Gives them more breathing room to try to adapt to each other, adapt to the way map changes are going as well. It gives them that ease of pressure that's there for the community, especially, you know, based on the POIs they've been having, the uncontested as well. I think now there's finally just a free ride for this duo to just roll in.
I think it's the complete opposite.
Really?
I think there's more pressure on them because, of course, they were at this high and they've decided, okay, we're leaving Greasy, right? We don't want to deal with that. Janice, of course, is this two-time FNCS champion. He has very high expectations of himself. Ooh, nice little fight here in the zone over at Crony Crossroads. But the players who are the best of the best, they always have these high expectations of themselves, right? Meeting Janice at the boot camp, or not the boot camp, sorry, at Media Day, right? He obviously spoke to me about how he has very, very high expectations of himself, and so he won't be satisfied with anything else.
Not at all. The one thing you really want to be satisfied about is just winning the fights that are easier and advantageous for your duo. For Psychic right now and JJ2, they're going to be rolling straight through these two over at the basement of this house. That's an easy clapdown.
Yeah, now that that fight's done, right, Zone's pulled all the way to the west, and so as much as they've done well to win their fight, the journey into the zone is going to be crucial now. Of course, with time ticking, with the zone beating down on them, they might decide, look, let's just get in as fast as we can. But if they're going to go straight east from that perspective, or straight west, sorry, from that POV, they're going to run into a bunch of teams crowded up on the zone line. Do they maybe have time to go up north, go up south, try wrap around a lot of the teams that will be congested in those more central areas? That is the decision making that they're going to have to think about.
All far in the same position as well. Him Diox were so close to winning out one of these games. Just came down to that final 2v2 where they slightly fell short on day number 1. Now we'll see if there's a possibility if they can clap back the experience that a bunch of these teams have and just knowing exactly what's going down. That's the hugest thing. Really want to see exactly how it rolls. Thomas HD as well taking a sweet old time up in the cavern, but hitting a big shot there or getting hit is going to be unfortunate.
Yeah, we'll see how things develop for them. Of course, when you talk about high expectations, I think these guys have the brunt weight of expectations on them when it comes to this lobby. Of course, at Command Cavern, plenty of loot, an abundance of loot, one of the strongest POIs we've seen in Fortnite history. Of course, an abundance of launch pads as well, and an abundance of talent from 2 brilliant Danish players who have shown in the past that they are players who should be playing in the FNCS final.
So we got Xerox and Kovacs. They rock through too. And they're going to pick up Quidbo. That's a huge team to take apart. It causes so much chaos, especially when Surge has to be a little bit of a factor. We mentioned it too earlier on in the day. It looked really good in terms of the potential that they have from day 1 to day 2. I hope that continues to go on.
Yeah, I think it's important though that we start taking a look at some of the things we've seen. Of course, we talked about Jerky and iDrop and how they're going to be able to do now that they're contested. We have Resub with a quick update on how things have gone for them.
We'll see Reese in just a second right now. Jox and Skyzoo will be shooting about 43 below. You talked about Surge previously, Levin, just right before this in terms of the way it can make things a bit chaotic. That's the next thing that teams are to be focusing on. Do damage or get dealt damage is the big kind of formula that teams try to follow. Jump shock and in tow. Jox doesn't even care about building at the moment. He just wants to land a few shots. Going for a few more. Just skirting around in the air. These guys are just so accurate. Skyzoo and Jox can see everything happening. They have a perfect storm fight once again to get ahead of Surge. The question is, can they hold on all the way to endgame and really take control of a win and a ticket straight to the final?
Yeah, I think very much that fight seemed to be worth it in terms of they had the heal sustain the zone for a bit longer. But the big problem is now, right, they actually are in a bit of another fight. So you see the launch pad comes through. They decide, look, it's not worth our time. The biggest issue now is getting into zone. You can see so many players having their eyes in the storm, aware at the fact that these teams will be rotating in late.
It's all about overcoming these hurdles I see across the map. Jerky's also rolling in. Him and iDrop pick apart another team as well. We've seen them stumble multiple times earlier on and lose a lot of both their shields, ammunition, and the impact they can have later on in the game. There they are at the bottom of one of the hills. Jay also here had one game where there was high impact, especially as a solo or just in some of these bases as well, alongside Cosmo, dictating how people can move back and forth. When you get a zone this irregular towards the mountain, flying all the way on the left, it gets that much harder to pick one of these bases to go for some of these tags. And we saw him and Cosmo struggle with having a good position yesterday. This is an absolutely torrential downpour of just rain on them in terms of stress, pressure, in terms of just being in a back spot, back against the wall, literally, for Cosmo. It's armored as well, he can't move anywhere. He gets picked apart. Skyzoo and Jox, who were just in so much trouble before, roll in, get 2 elims worth of loot, get a little bit of a siphon active as well. They're going to be good. Right back to Jerky and iDrop. They're going to be in the cavern, have to move out, have to just get all the way towards the water. I'm looking at the zone right now. It is tough for them. What does Jerky and iDrop have to do? Maybe Reese has an answer.
I absolutely do have an answer for you indeed. Look, deep in zone at this minute. And you're wondering, how did they get there? We saw them in that early game engagement, but they decided to disengage, and it was a smart decision. You can see all of the loot that they've managed to gain from this. And hey, they got elimination after this as well.
Absolutely have a lot of those, I don't know, just good inventory management types of loadout ready. At the same time, Reese has talked about the position as well. Cutting through that zone, going over hill, staying incognito, can give you a drop down. Like you mentioned too, they got an elim right after as well. That's going to be huge for them rolling in. They're going to be able to get all those mats back in terms of a refresh off the elimination, off of making this crazy rotation all the way past the cavern. And that's good for iDrop and Jerky. I think you mentioned it, 11. The real test is how greedy are they going to be in the end game?
Yeah, there's no doubt that their mid-game and early game is going to be something that's consistent at this stage. I have no concerns in that regard when it comes to this duo. Maybe only 1 or 2 zone instances that maybe can give them some problems when it comes to Surge, but yeah, like I've said many a time now, it is going to be the big test coming into these moments here. See whether or not they are up to scratch and whether they've actually just chosen a direct path, right?
Yeah.
I spoke to Drake and he said, well, we're just going for the win because it's the better moment. We want you guys casting the game to hype us up. We want that big moment. We want to provide entertainment for the people watching at home. And look, Drake, I appreciate that. We want entertainment as well, but we also want to see you in the FNCS final. So secure that first and then we can talk about entertainment later.
Hey, I'm seeing day 3, game 6, Jerky eye drop win, if that's the way they're speaking. A guaranteed one, you know what I mean? Like, it's not disrespectfully, but respectfully.
Respectfully, always respectful on these sides.
Oh, look at this. Janus Vortex, launchpad ready. It feels like it's been years since I've seen these guys take control of an endgame 11. Remind me why Janus and Vortex should be feared towards the later portions of this game.
Because they have a brilliant combination of just intelligence, skill, experience with Janus, right? We talk about him winning multiple FNCSs, and they are a very well-structured team, right? The way in which they operate, Janus very much takes the lead. Vortex is very tight with him, and they are typically on the same page very often. You can see their position they were in there. Brilliant, right?
Yeah, you talk about position, you talk about synergy. I like that from Janus and Vortex. It's been proved and tried. We've shown a lot of that, though, with an Austin Pink day after day. They're still here. Very similar effect to iDrop and Jerky. We're talking about it. Maybe they're giving us that entertainment type of value. This loader that I'm watching right now, Striker Pump ready, launch pad, what, 12 splashes, 18 splashes almost? All this is screaming to me is, we want to win this game. Threshold, it's above as well. They need to stay low-key. iDrop and Jerky still alive. Thomas and Tripper, and I feel like, are also still in the business. Height should be just a no-fly zone for this team right now.
Yeah, this game has set up perfectly for them, right? Very, very northwest of the map. They land topside command. They've been able to ping away at people all game long. Surge hasn't been a problem. The problem will become, are they able to hold on to height? How do they go about that? They have the pad, so it will be very enticing, but you can't afford to lose your head for it. You can't throw your game away in order to try to secure height. Maybe playing for consistency will be the better option for them.
Yeah, you look at the map right now, too. It looks like I'm looking at a high school prom. Everyone just at the walls right now. No one having the courage to hit the dance floor and go towards the middle of the zone. I mean, it is scary. There's a river. It's basically off the map as well. I hope that people take this cadence and stay patient. Maybe not even try to... Pablo and Swag, though, I mean, we're expecting them possibly to be the strongest team or the team that has the biggest chance out of the 6 new ones that are coming in. Or actually, it's way more than that. I feel like that, the 12 parts. It's the 11 teams right? that are coming in to get one of those wins. It's all about that low ground type of synergy, and we saw a lot of those low ground teams fester and do a little bit well towards the end, not maybe secure the dub completely. For Pablo and Swag, they're survivors. They're able to do it game after game. They have zone as well, it looks like, for now. Unfortunately, Swag down. The pattern not the same today on day 2. Pablo, he's left alone.
Yeah, it's not looking too good for Pablo here. You can see his back's against the wall. He's really struggling.
No way.
Found a different angle, but it's not going to be enough. Look, Pablo and Swag go down there. No need to panic for them. This was probably worst case scenario when it comes to zone. They've had to travel all the way to the opposite side of the map, and so they shouldn't worry too much. A team that we might have to worry about, though. Trippin is down. Thomas doesn't have much HP. He doesn't really have any legs in this one. He's trying his best, but his best is not enough in this moment. Thomas and Trippin are favorites for today. For many people, go down in game 1.
And this is such an important zone for them, too. I feel like Thomas has had control of Cavern, of the mountains, year after year, season after season. A game that should have been possibly his to dictate and dominate. Not going to have the chance. Clownski, Rustguard, basically silenced. Mimes in day number 1 look to finally have their voices heard on the second day of semifinals. They take a pad, they roll in, have a chance to go for height, but instead choose to stay on second, stay low-key, recuperate. I don't see Rustguard inside these boxes, though. He's a little bit further away and can't handle the music or the pressure. Amazing option from Clownski to not even go for the builds, to go for maximum defense, but go for the utility play first. Mere seconds of time to get Rustguard up. He extends the duration with those splashes. Looks so good as he's getting his teammate up. So many more things has happened in the feed. Wise got a few picks. A lot of the teams we would expect to be here, like Thomas, also gone down. It's getting crazy on this west side.
For a moment, it looked like Clown were having a repeat, a continuation of the days we saw yesterday. But things being adjusted now. Juriki and iDrop, though, will go down early as well. That's two huge, major players for high ground being taken out early.
And I instantly see Vortex go straight to the top towards the builds. Janus there too. I think the whole lobby knows exactly who just got eliminated.
Нокни, да вот, ну нокни.
One duo going down affects so much.
Боже мой, ну нокни.
Yeah, it really is going to be a mixed bag in this one.
Что у тебя тут происходит?
Иди ко мне, я ФНК смотрю. Ну боже мой, ну нокни, он белый. Заспам его с ППшки, ну боже мой, бот. Ты где?
Я тут.
Иди ко мне.
Иду, я иду.
Телевизор. Блять, он белый. Пришелец, нокни. Иди ко мне, смирно смотрим. У тебя тут показывается игра?
Да.
Вот. Блин, ну нахуй. Чел был белый, ну пришелец был дико белый. Зачем ты тут начал?
Стоп. А как ты получил этот скин?
На ПС-ке?
А, он только для плоек?
Нет, оно только для ПК.
А я не смог получить, меня заскамили.
Почему?
Я если купил, и они сказали спасибо, и все, мне этот скин не дали.
Так тебе задание дали на этот скин, идиот.
А. В смысле, меня, получается, друг заскамил?
Как заскамил?
Он сказал, что ему не дали. Конечно, блин. Так.
Блять, просто задание чекну.
Так. Подождите несколько фаз. А, продержитесь. Нанесите противникам урон. С кирки?
Нет, просто урон.
А, ну тогда ладно.
Блять, тебя заспамили. Ну, надо было из металла закрываться, бот. Ну, боже мой, ну сзади чел, ты слепой?
Угу, просто слепой, жесть.
Боже мой, просто слепой. Ну, блядь, он белый. Наконец-то. Блядь, куда ты хилишься, дебилка? Да, блядь, из железа стройся. Вот это вот было нормально. Давай.
Если там сейчас стены поставили бронированные, то тогда вообще габело.
Давай, давай, давай. Ну пуш, ну боже мой. Пуш.
Это из какой главы вообще?
Это прямой эфир. Это сейчас.
В смысле, сейчас же ХП по-другому выглядит.
Нет, это сейчас.
Или это может так настроиться инвентарь посередине?
Нет, это просто сейчас. Это прямой эфир. Это ФНКС турнир такой, на деньги.
А, я бы не пошел туда.
Тебе нужен 10-й дивизион, чтобы туда пойти.
А, ну тогда еще. Все равно бы не смог.
Ну боже мой, чел, ты слепой? Вот сейчас зона съест, слепые. Боже мой, чел, ты тупо.
А сколько он длиться будет?
Он будет длиться долго. Я буду все 5 игр смотреть. Это первая игра. 5 каток будет. Выживаем по зоне, да? Да, выживай, выживай. А иди в зоне.
Нельзя просто сбежать из зоны.
Ну, я думаю, что можно. Просто есть такие челы, у которых нету мозгов.
Да, я на это и намекаю сейчас.
Нет, у него нету шансов пойти в зону. Зона слишком далека.
Да, все.
Не, все топ-1 заняли эти два чела.
Его, наверное, скоро молнии будут бить.
Боже мой, он поддержится, ну как? О, не видно. Хорош челы затащили, красавчик.
Из-за того, что у него спрей кончился.
Первую игру побеждают какие-то два чела.
Да.
Блин, этот чел жестко держался в зоне.
Ну да.
О, Кармайн и Лазаяк заняли топ-1. Красавчик, челы.
Угу.
Ты хочешь
ненавидел эти ролики, они долгие.
Ты будешь со мной 5 игр смотреть или нет?
Нет, эти ролики вообще скучные.
Ну, смотря для кого. Тогда давай погуляем немного.
Давай.
Давай сюда. Что-то тут карта для тренировок, чтобы быть кибером. О, это что?
Я хочу поиграть. Я не кибер, я хочу быть кибером.
Это горячая тикса.
Понимаю. Унизили.
О, тут есть что-то связанное с Аимом. Какая-то фигня. Что-то надо. А ты тоже туда зарегинься?
Я зарегинился.
Ждем. Не знаю, что это. О, на дискотеку. Тут дискотека есть, имба.
Через 13 секунд что-то начнется.
Иди потанцуй, тут 10 тысяч опыта дадут.
Ой, не успел. Что делать там?
Я хз. Боже мой, ты мой килл.
Надо.
Да ты мой килл стырил. Да боже мой, я не могу попасть.
Я тоже.
Да что это так сложно? Ты мои все киллы стырил. Это типа тир, да, как я понял, это тир.
Ну, похоже. Давай потом игры для кибера.
Да хватит, блин. На.
Я хочу игры для кибера.
Да будет теперь игры для кибера. Это имбовый режим. Блин, не успел. Я победил.
Поздравляю. Я хочу до дискотеки подойти, секундочку. Чисто когда бежишь в столовку, когда последнее место осталось.
Я рил сейчас в столовке, я хз, что тут делать, но это классно. А тут типа для коронных. О, тут VIP место, просто можно посидеть, поговорить о бизнесах.
Пошли лучше игры для киберов.
Да отстань ты. Игры от киберов.
Какую пойдем?
Да нет, дай мне посмотреть, мне за это бэкпак дадут.
Что за бэкпак?
Киберспорт, бэкпак, ФНКС, чемпионская, щит. Если посмотреть. Тупо халявный опыт. Тут можно танцевать, получается, каждый мост по халявному опыту.
Не, я пошел просто пикатища такая.
Просто каждый сезон, ой, каждую секунду танцуешь по одной эмоции, до бабла опыта засчитывает. Это просто лучший баг на опыт. Пацаны, это реал имба? Смотрим, что тут есть. Это аж целый город. У меня уже, кстати, 5 монет. Автобусы. Это. Пычется. Ронин. Киберспорт. Че тут? Я не могу понять, что это. Так. One player. А это боксы. Уф, боксы. Надо этого пригласить. Он по любасу пойдет в боксы. Да 50 это стоит, да можно. За 5 может что такое, за 10. Блин. Ну давайте боксы ждем. Ты еще не читаешь? Боксы. Угу.
Gonna be wow, I can't believe this actually saying such that. And my friend Nano. Yeah. They're gonna be I'm gonna call them like N-Week or something. I have no clue, but here they are. Nano Victor now down, both fighting for the lodge. It's not going too well for Victor at all.
Yeah, of course we talked about the 50-50 nature of this POI and trying to alpha that main building. It didn't go too well for Tropex and his duo, but I'm sure Nano and Lou won't be too bothered about that one. We have an update over towards Logjam though. Juriki, he gets the elimination credit for both of that as well. That's nice on the points. And he'll very easily be able to get the reboot off. He already has in that time. So almost a rocky start for them at Logjam, but Juraking coming through.
There's King Michael too now, so who actually holds the crown, Levin?
Who holds the crown? Well, I guess that will be determined based off of how the next 5 games go, right?
So right now he's Jura Prince.
Jura Prince?
Yeah.
Okay.
That makes the most sense. Yeah, we have to give him the crown in a little bit of a second.
Okay, cool. I'm down with that.
Sanctuary fights. We gotta love the sanctuary fights, Levin. Over here, it gets absolutely intense. We've seen Henry and Queasy kind of roll on these sides. I think it's the most memorable thing I've seen in Sanctuary. A big pinch that happens over time. Their team doesn't even land here, so, you know.
If your most memorable moment of Sanctuary is a team having a storm surge fight here, then,
listen, this is like the retirement home of POIs, I feel like. You know, it's supposed to be peaceful. It's supposed to be... We haven't gone for these crazy launch pad places.
Имба.
It's quaint, nice. You get your food at specific times. You get your rest and you get out. Whenever a fight breaks out here, I don't think either team fully expects it. Especially the intensity of it. It's just kind of awkward. I think everyone's just looking to get a little bit of loot and do the best they can consistently all the way towards the end. The first fight that we saw in game 1, Levin, it happened so fast. That is not the case today.
yeah, and they want this fight to finish quickly, right?
Карась.
Right, the sort of white line pointing towards the zone. The zone once again has moved towards the west, right? Yesterday, it seemed like the lobby was geared towards Queasy and Hen.
Блять, должно высадить.
You know,
Мне все равно кик. Кикните. Меня кикните. Так, надо туза. Блин, нет. Давайте сделаем баг на опыт. Это потому что имба. Несмотря на то, что мне опыт вообще не нужен, это просто имбовый баг. Делать это аквару эмоций, тупо юзайте.
One of them just creeping behind the wall. I don't think he did. He's not aware whatsoever. Can we get an awareness check, my friend? They're about to line him up. 3, 2, 1. That's my favorite.
The awareness meter is actually off inside the sanctuary.
Блин.
It's a sanctuary.
Уже вторая игра, я одну игру целую смотрел голик днем. Блин, я рискую. Я рискую. Все равно мне никакого бэкпака не даст. Так, кидаем его запросиков. О, Фрейзон. Фрейзон какой-то. Алло, Лорд Макс, а ты чё ливнул?
Я в катку, меня эти мультики бесят сильно. А ты любишь рыбу?
В Fortnite или в Real Life?
Не, в реальной жизни рыбу любишь?
Нет. Только котлеты рыбные.
Я тоже.
С лимоном.
Ну да, это еще нормально.
Рыбные котлеты с лимоном это просто имба. А вот рыбу я не могу есть. Это невкусно.
Да, рыба просто отстой.
Ну вот рыбные котлеты.
Ну да, ну да. Игра сдохла, у меня грузовик. О, все.
Блять, костолом. Я хочу за костолом сыграть. Я шизофреник, что играю за костолом, и я это понимаю, конечно.
Бедный чел, у него скинов нет. Он дефолт, а 111 левел. Как это работает?
Он не дефолт, он просто делал дефолт, чтобы все думали, что он дефолт. И ему поддавались.
А ему поддаваться не надо.
У меня иногда так было, я тоже ставил дефолта.
Да.
Боже мой, костолом рил очень неудобный скин.
Да, даже основатель поудобнее.
Не, ну основатель, скажу честно. Вот мой самый любимый скин, это который я его получил, вот это мой любимый скин. Но мне вот дико нравится антиклаус призрачный, вот я его просто обожаю.
Понял.
Антиклаус обожаю, он у меня есть добычицу, люблю доктор Слоун, люблю имбовый скин.
А я жестко уважаю Венома и призрачного гонщика.
Я обожаю вот этот вот скин, который новый халявный был за задание. Обожаю антиклауса, вот этого вот призрачного.
Я, кстати, тоже уважаю лаву, нормально.
И добычицу люблю. Вот это мой мейн скин. Еще и Наруто. И Наруто. Наруто
Теперь
тоже.
я понимаю, почему все так любят добытчицу. Теперь я понимаю. Тоже нормальный скин. А ты, кстати, заметил, что куда-то река вся пропала?
Что пропало?
Река.
Какая еще река?
Ну, около пломбирного.
А, блядь, это из-за коллайдера.
Что он делает?
Бля, резон. А, будет 5 дип, он узнал, что за 5 дип отвертки дают, а мне, блядь, 6.
Он показывает, типа, что тут конец зоны. Понял? Артура, я вот одного не понимаю задание. Поджечь постройки это вражеские, что ли?
Нет, ты просто фармишь фул ресы, фул дерева, и просто кидаешь на них светлячки, поджигаешь бензины, паяльную лампу, тупо все, что тебе попадается на глазу, тупо жжешь.
Подожди. Фух. Давай продолжай. Я отделался. У меня скоро кирка будет. Урон вообще изи наносить. Он не может справиться с челом. Не, все-таки надо убирать эпическое, вообще лагает жестко. Ну не жестко, но подлагивает. Нормально так.
У тебя эпические настройки?
Ну, у меня одна эпическая для скинов, чтобы были нормальные.
Как это ставить? Я хочу, что она эпическая.
Ну, я тебе сейчас, когда в лобби ливну, покажу. Убил. Просто какие лошары.
Ну, у нас вот все на максималках.
Светлячки! Чел, ты совсем куку? Хенрик терминатор. Я хочу на кирку. Ну блин, он мой хил с крысой. Спамят! Мало хп, очень мало. Очень мало хп, короче. Не надо, не надо. Да вы издеваетесь! С одной стороны, с другой стреляю. Просто понимаю, хилис и нас убивают. Хиль.
Это real default.
Чел, живи.
Это real default. Я ошибся, это real default был. Сауги на изину. Да это не дефолт, я тебе уверяю, это не дефолт. Просто постройте со все свое дерево и поджечь это, и у тебя задание выполнится.
А я бы это сделал, если бы у меня было чем поджечь.
Смотри, там светлячки были сзади. Иди назад. Вот у дерева собери светлячки.
Да, блин, мне надо чела спасти.
Да посрать, кирка важнее. Вот бэкпак важнее.
Ну да.
Просто и начинай из дерева строиться. Тупо. Быстро стройся. Ты сейчас в зоне умрешь. Да ты мало поджег. Надо завстереть.
Блин, да
ты умеешь 80-й? Ты умеешь 80-й?
Чё 80-й?
делать 80-й, строить так.
Нет.
Тогда в следующей катке я нафармлю фулл дерево, а ты стратегически нафармишь, я буду дико строиться, а ты все в конце поджжешь.
Ок. Если стрелячков увидел, сейчас подожгу еще постройку свою.
Тупо стройся, вот просто стройся, бесконечно, но не так. Или так, да, вот так вот стройся. Стройся, вот дико стройся. Ты играешь на ФНКС на 1 миллиард, тебе просто надо потратить все дерево. Тупо не знаю, что творить. Тупо делай все, что ты умеешь. Кибери, ты играешь на скин за 50 миллиардов баксов, который никогда больше не будет.
Жечь?
А ну-ка, жечь столько. Посмотри назад, посмотри назад. Гори, гори, ясно, что не благословит.
Там постройки не загорелось.
Поэтому надо много светлячков. Иди, жди, посрать на зону. Задание важнее.
Да, согласен.
Задание на бэкпак важнее. А теперь просто стройся из всего оставшегося.
Лава важнее имба скин. Блина.
Это важнее, чем тиммейт, я уверен.
А он уже ливнул давно.
Он понял, что ты психопат.
Сейчас аптека захилюсь.
Он понял, что ты психопат.
Я выполняю задание.
Он
Кстати,
понял,
мне
что
скоро до кирки уже.
Тогда нокни. А ты выполнил? А ты сожег постройки? Или еще нет?
А там чуть-чуть осталось, там прям чуть-чуть. А постройки еще нет.
Сколько тебе построек осталось?
У меня всего лишь 65.
Осталось или надо?
Надо. А, нет, я не знаю. У меня выполнено 65.
Нормально.
А им спамер.
Вот это были боты, я бы их нокнул. Давай, ливай.
Да, ливай. Вся кучка. Ай! Чуть наушник не слетел. О, новая страница. Да блин, какой боевой пропуск получить? Мне 9-я страница важнее. А, нет, 10-я уже. Все, ура, у меня открыт последняя страница. И мифическая, и кирка, короче.
У тебя ж 0 ББ, да? Сейчас будет 100. У тебя сейчас будет 100 вибаксов, Лорд Макс.
Да, 150. Ай. Блин, пылающая лава вообще имба скин.
Надо рядом, надо 50 фаз бури выжить.
Ну 50 фаз бури я уже там чуть-чуть пережил. Сейчас посмотрю, сколько.
Ну, максимум 5. Максимум.
Так. Я пережил 4. Мундроп! Согласен, фнаг дерьмо. Артур!
О, летим сюда. Тут есть светлячки. Ты берешь светлячки, оформлю ресурсы.
Окей, я тебе тоже скину рисы. Это, а ты знаешь игру Overwatch?
Нет, не знаю.
А жаль. Игра классная. И, кстати, в нее можно играть со стольки же, что и Fortnite.
Не понял.
Ну, в Fortnite можно играть с 12 и Overwatch с 12.
Fortnite с 12? Нет, Fortnite с 18.
Fortnite с 12, не рассказывай мне дичь.
Нет, это 6 плюс Fortnite.
Что?
Fortnite 6 плюс.
А Overwatch 12 получается. И скоро он будет 6 плюс, понимаю. Светлячки. Светлячки. 2 банки светлячков, понимаю. Еще... А, мне показалось. Блин, я забыл настройку на скрипа. Так там нормально все?
Нет, не нормально, по ХП поймешь.
У меня 5 светлячков.
Молодец, еще собирай. У меня уже много ресурсов.
А на мне один чел.
А на мне тоже один, я его нокнул.
Проспамил, просто я его проспамил.
Кресло.
У меня 100 дерева, иди сюда.
Я буду строиться, чтобы ты потом это все зашел.
Угу. Я буду пока тебя прикрывать.
Да нет, это светлячки.
А светлячки я уже собрал 5 штук.
Еще собирай мало. Надо минимум 15.
Минимум? Да тут осталось всего один. Одна пара и все.
Так ты бери, чтобы было 15.
А, не одна.
Бери просто сколько влезет в инвентарь, неважно.
Их тут миллионы.
Так бери их, если они миллионы.
У меня 9 штук уже.
Надо еще, бери все.
10. Светлячки вы где?
Уже достаточно, по-моему.
Ну, 10 это да, достаточно, думаю.
Помогите кусты сломать, чтобы я начал уже строиться.
Ок. А все, это последний был. А, нет.
Так, погнал.
Мне
Ты еще не жечь.
Стой. А, это все нормально. Блин, тут наркотики. А где? А, вот. У меня аптека есть.
А мне...
Чего у тебя есть?
Авиаудар.
А, ну его жестко пофиксили, так что он сейчас дерьмо.
Да боже мой, тут еще человек.
Скажешь, когда можно?
Можно. Все. Гори, гори, ясно.
Все, я выполнил.
Как это красиво.
Подобрать.
Тушим. Туш огонь. Да, тушить.
Сам последний догорит.
А теперь надо урон нести. На С400 легко.
Урон? А урон у меня почти готов уже. У меня урона 1026.
Иди, много чего тут челы.
Блин, уж с этими лагами невозможно играть.
Добей этого. А, блядь, он нукнулся.
Так, где они? Где еще челы? Что, больше нет, реально? Иди сюда, у меня слюрпы есть.
О нет! Пчелы, убегаем!
Да это же ты сделал, я не
Да нет, это чел сделал, вон! Вау, это чел! Спаси меня, Лорд Макс!
Ты думаешь, я поведусь? Я не дебил.
Лорд Макс, спаси меня! Они тут все раскромили!
Может, ты поможешь?
А может, тебе надо урон наносить? Или мне надо урон наносить?
Я уже сделал несколько... Да блин, что так слабо? Офигели. Тут машинка. Помогите. Помоги.
Ну ладно, ну тут уж помогу. Да как? Один вопрос, как?
Он тебя в голову с помпы.
Получил кирку? Что ты получил?
Бэтпак.
А кирку?
Нет.
Видора, ответ.
Ах ты, Крися.
Дай коронку.
Окей. Боже, я испугался, я подумал, мне скин уже дали. Я тебе обещал сказать настройки.
Да, говори.
Так, сейчас. Параметры. А что он? Не понял. Не понял. А как оно работает? Что за дичь? У меня все среднее. Или это качество текстур виновато?
Часик.
Чего?
Ты наказан.
Кто?
Ты.
За что? Куда смотреть?
О. Заходи, ну готово, нажми.
Да я не хочу смотреть ваши видео.
Да Блять, это ФНКС, а не видео.
Мне пофиг, я не буду смотреть.
А я тебя заставлю.
Как?
Вот так, иди за мной, я тебе покажу один баг на опыт.
Мне опыт не нужен уже вообще-то.
Да иди ко мне, я баг на опыт покажу.
Он мне не нужен.
Алло. Интересно, там похуй.
Артур, он мне не нужен опыт.
Иди за мной, сейчас баг покажу.
Да мне не нужен опыт.
Не, секунду, вот чекай вот это, вот видишь эту надпись? Видишь? Видишь эту надпись?
И зачем мне этот опыт? Артур, мне этот опыт не нужен.
Смотри, что я танцую.
Самая крутая эмоция в кавычках.
Так она из первого сезона, даже такой нету.
И
у тебя зато нету такого.
Есть.
Ладно, ты меня заставляешь тяжелую артиллерию, у тебя нету такого.
Ну такого да.
Такого нету, такого нету, такого нету.
А такое есть? Есть?
Говбоксы пофатимся. Говбоксы, иди ко мне.
Ты как? А, это подкат был.
Давай, выбирай, ты какая команда, я Грин. Не бери ты Грин, ты не был Грин.
Я хотел быть Грин.
А так нельзя, мы в одной команде были.
А я одну катку боксов сыграю и все.
И
пойду
всё.
дальше задание выполнять.
Да иди ты.
Повтори.
Иди ты в сраку. Ой. Меня Дуэн позвал один
Подожди,
матч.
дай я маску одену.
Меня
Всё,
Дуэн
продолжаем.
позвал один на один. Кто-нибудь спасите.
Зеленский, открывай, это Россия.
Это Зеленский? А я с Зеленским играть не буду.
Я
Зеленский
спецназ.
даун.
Кукую.
Зеленский даун.
Согласен.
Какая, блядь, пуля? Блядь, ты
Шальная.
дебил. Шамель, блядь.
Стой, подожди, стой. Не понял.
Давай еще один раунд, это было очень легко.
Окей, ты. Нифига так так клевый. У него, оказывается, эффект есть.
Какой еще эффект?
Ну, когда, короче, через некоторое время он начинает тебя окружать огонь.
Да это зона была. Го без построек, нулевая высота.
А
Можем
как
поставить
она
свой
работает?
фото.
Подожди, смотри. Стой, давай одну эмоцию заюзаем. Смотри. Клинки юзай. Смотри. У меня они желтые. А у тебя розовый. Как она работает?
Я просто стиль на Ризу поменял.
Ну давай файтимся.
Не, ну это нулевая высота, только 3 постройки мат. Офигеть, у меня огненный эффект. Ну блин, иди со мной, тут вроде бы есть бесконечные боксы. Вот.
Че я желтый?
Нет, я желтый, уже поздно.
Я Крися. Хочу быть желтый.
Не возникай эмоцию скалы, если слабо. Смотрю, а почему тут в маске, а ты не в маске? Потому что ты бот. Теперь играем на максимуме. Просто играй по максимуму. Ты играешь в турнир на 15 тысяч долларов. 1 килл равно 15 тысяч долларов. Ты должен сделать 1 килл хотя бы.
Где нахер доллары, рубли? Привет, куку.
Это мало, 15 тысяч рублей, долларов больше.
Я знаю. Но у нас доллары не принимают. Вот это ты жесткий.
Понимаешь, что такое спам? То есть понимай, умей понимать.
Я не понимаю, что такое спам, и не хочу понимать.
Тогда в следующем раунде ты будешь таким вот красным пиздюком.
Окей. Не понял.
Чего?
Ты кого тут обозвал, а?
Не, ну, красный пиздюк.
Ударь киркой. У тебя что, эффект? Вау.
Да.
Хочешь рыгну еще раз?
Если что, это сейчас на 100 миллиардов рублей. Если ты меня нокнешь, получишь 100 миллиардов рублей. Но, естественно, ты меня не нокнешь. А если ты меня рил нокнешь, то я на твой там 15 тысяч рублей.
Подожди, стой. Я не понимаю. Не убивай. А что у меня такое, что я не понимаю? Что у меня с экраном? У меня текстуры просто офигенные. Как это отключить? Налагает из-за них.
Блять, буря идет.
Да подожди ты.
Ой, родной, ты умер. Теперь я белый пиздюк.
Сломал.
Я белый пиздюк.
Нет, не видал.
Стань красным пиздюком, у тебя 20 секунд.
Да подожди ты.
Если не успеешь, я поменяю на красный.
Качество текстур среднее. Да пофиг на настройки.
Я сейчас поменяю на красный. Ты ж крыса, маленькая ириска. А сейчас ты играешь на 5 рублей. Если ты мне выиграешь, скину у тебя 5 рублей на карточку. Рил, 5 рублей на карточку скину.
Хочешь, я тебе расскажу про моего друга?
Давай, рассказывай.
Ему 5 рублей это много.
На кирку.
Не надо, пожалуйста!
Дядя!
Нет! Не будь плохим мальчиком, будь хорошим человеком!
Это зона тебя убила. Я тебя не убил, это зона была. Я теперь буду белым пиздюком. А ты красный пиздюк. Вот целоваться.
Пошел нахер.
Смотри, что у меня есть.
Я злой пес, отвали от тебя. Я до сих пор это помню, если что. Ничего не вижу. Если что, я помню, что ты мне рассказывал. И скажи спасибо, что это я еще никому не сказал.
Привет! А это играем на 1 рубль. Если ты меня выиграешь, я тебе кидаю на карточку 1 рубль.
Какой нахер 1 рубль, да? На 0 рублей.
1 рубль монета. Из Макдональдса 1 рубль.
Макдак дерьмо, пиццерия топ. Пошел нахер. У меня 1 хп. Я первый плеер. А ты второй плеер.
Ну иди.
А Боба, ты...
Сними маску, сними маску, сними маску.
Пошел
Сними
нахер.
маску. Сними маску.
Все, я деду инсайд.
Сними маску.
Я снял маску.
Ты снял маску?
Да.
А сейчас играем на 0,001 рубль.
Если что, я ее ношу, чтобы коронавирусом не заболеть.
Если что, вот скажу одну вещь. Мы сейчас играем, знаешь, на что? На 10
На
рублей.
0,00001
Нет, на 10 рублей. Давай, на 10 рублей тащи. Мама будет рада 10 рублей выиграть.
10 копеек еще, блин.
Бля, ты жесткий. Бля, ты
10
жесткий.
копеек верни!
Тебя зона убила.
Верни мои 10 копеек!
Тебя зона убила. Стой, год целоваться. Давай, сними масочку. О, иди ко мне, иди ко мне.
Пошел в жопу!
Давай, жениться, жениться, давай, жениться, жениться. Не убежишь от меня.
Убегу.
О, блядь, турик идет.
Все, ты меня достал. До свидания.
Давай пофатимся тогда.
Я не хочу коронавирусом болеть.
Тогда одень свою маску, я тебя не убиваю, одень маску.
Я одел маску. Я не буду болеть коронавирусом. Там Макдональдс.
Вот сейчас играем на 0,001 доллар.
На копейку.
На копейку. Играем на копейку из пиццерии.
Нет, давай на конфету малюсенькую. А кусочек чупа-чупсика. Чисто на лайке. Я сейчас сам говорю, я тебя на лайке взял.
Давай, если я тебя сейчас выкру, то я тебе... Если я тебя сейчас выкру, то я тебе не даю монетку из пиццерии.
А я без маски, все, я заболею коронавирусом. А хотя не заболею. Пошел нахер! Пошел нахер, я сейчас в лестницу упаду. Как не мог сделать? О, автобус, забери меня! О, на 5-й вокзал.
Если я сейчас тебя выиграю, то я тебе не даю монетку из пиццерии.
Да похер на эту монету из пиццы! Пиццы! Ай, больно! У тебя
Где больно в ноге?
когда они ударились ногой, они у тебя орут?
Что орет?
Пошел нахер. Автобус, забери меня на 5-й вокзал!
Автобус!
Заберите меня на вокзал какой-то! Заберите меня в Испанию!
Я с тобой!
Нет, ты не со мной!
Нет!
Отвали, или я тебя спалю! У меня здесь нет.
Где ты?
Я собака, кыш.
О, собачка.
Пошел нахер!
Проголосуй.
Спасите меня!
Проголосуй, я хочу. Голосуй, блядь, говнюк. Да иди голосуй, боксы, блядь, я зеленый.
Нет, я утенок. Я утенок. Тут нет людей, только утята.
О, утенок!
Пошел нахер.
Глупо фатимся, если ты меня выиграешь, я больше тебя не буду так доставать.
Иди пожри лучше.
Что, твой хуй?
Осуждаю.
Тоже осуждаю. Ты куда полетел, блядь?
От тебя подальше.
Тогда я буду таким.
Я Dead Inside от туалет.
Ты не Dead Inside, ты мой муж.
Пошел нахер.
Представь, что я девочка. Привет, меня зовут Алиса.
Пошел нахер.
Я Алиса, давай познакомимся. Ты симпатичный мужчина с мускулами.
Ты снюс когда вернешь? Снюс верни.
Не верну, я тебя на кирку сейчас посажу.
Я тебя снюс верну. Пошел нахер.
На кирочку, бота, на кирочку. Блять,
Ты вообще сказал на гирю.
На кирочку.
Все, я пошел на обычный матч.
Нет, не уходи, пожалуйста, я больше не буду тебя доставать. Нет.
Я не из-за этого, я хочу получить скин.
Пиздюк, ты никогда 50 фасбури не выживешь.
Выжил.
Тогда иди и выживай.
Ну, пойду.
Ну, иди.